right. Back the other way. Okay. Mother finally came and gave me the computer. So took my daughter to the Boys and Girls and head back to the house. Anyhow, like I was saying, they do this all the time. You know, whenever, like so far we've donated, 4 computers, right? in the span of what, 2 years? So it's not bad. You know, not bad. All right. Like I always say, I always tell my kids, I said, listen, it doesn't matter. As I said, I always tell my kids, I said, listen, you hear the New York Predator Department. Right? Again, always with the curse of threat, right? And having you under surveillance and stuff like that. Like I said, y'all can come see me whenever. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not running anywhere. Matter of fact, I can't wait. Okay? Right? Y'all the one that's taking your sweet time. But let me say, it's going to be something that y'all never wish y'all would have done to me or anybody else. And you will never do it again. Okay? Anyhow, so see the red sweater. Right? Anyhow, when they are attacking you, as they have painted a narrative, and so now, right, they have to manipulate you so they can say, see, this is what we told you about these people. This is what we told you about this is Nigel. This is what we told you about Alva. This is what we told you about, who else? Derek. This is what we told you about Neil. This is what we told you about Eleanor. This is what we tell you about, well, there are quite a few, right? Judy, this is what we tell you about. Other TIs I'm trying to remember here. I haven't spoken to them in years, but this is what they do. This is what they do. Try to destroy your reputation, destroy your character, destroy your name, right? Meanwhile, they don't talk about how they are programming you, how they basically mind control you, manipulate you, drug you, right? And so that's the hallmark of a destructive cult. Now let's couple that with those within the U.S. government, military, security agencies, law enforcement, who have sought to create these cults, right? Just as in Zoom, right? You have the East German Stasi secret police, right? We see this here in the U.S. We see the another Virginia UME 5832. See, I tell you, they show up. they show up, man. Let me tell you. There's never there's never a lack of perps who they can use, right? Never. So we gotta expose every one of them. It's a tedious task, but hey, as TI, you gotta do what you need to do. Anyhow, as I was saying, right? So they never talk about this. That's what I said. You gotta analyze your thought pattern as a TI and understand how they manipulate you, right? Because see, the thing is, they'll say, well, oh yeah, we didn't target this individual until after he or she did whatever, right? But that's a lie. And again, I show you guys how they target my kids, right? So we're talking about generational, and also they target other family members also, right? Or they get your family members involved in targeting you. This is what they do, right? This is what they do. So don't be surprised. Like I said, as a TI, look at the perp right here. Look at the perp. Yeah. See him over there? Right? So you gotta understand that, these people are the crazy ones. These people are the ones with the mental illness. All right? because you gotta be mentally ill to do something, to do what they do, right? 'Cause I wouldn't even I can't even imagine me doing some shit like that. I never would, even if I was a Christian, right? I would never do some shit like that. But when people are ignorant, not educated, and again, and that's who they use the most, because that's who the religion really takes hold the minds of, the ignorance and the uneducated, right? For the most part. Not to say that there isn't educated people who are highly indoctrinated. They are, right? But at least those people who are educated, you know, they get to be around other people, so they can, where they have many different conversations besides, you know, religion, right? So that's the difference. Okay, when their whole life is predicated on thinking that they are soldiers of God, soldiers of Christ, right? And again, that's what they call themselves, right? They'll say, I'm a soldier for God. Well, of course. Just like how you have Muslim people who believe that they are soldiers for Allah. You got them in the army. You got them on the predator departments, law enforcement, right? You got them in the security agencies. You got them in the schools, in the hospitals. All right? But yet, they don't read their Bible because, you know, they follow. All right? And there's nothing wrong with following someone. If they're leading you in ways that will uplift you, if they're leading you in ways that make you a better person, but that's not what these people do. Right? That's not what they do. Their leaders don't lead them in ways that will uplift them. The leaders get uplifted. The leaders get wealthy. The leaders get to be in control and tell them what to do. Right? They get to, you know, the followers in these destructive cults get to suffer, right? Because they have been told that suffering is good to Jesus. But guess what? Their leaders, the pastor's not suffering, right? Or the pastor's suffering. When the pastor is driving around in expensive cars, and your pastor's wearing $5,000 shoes, when your pastor is engaging in adultery, right? Okay? when your pastor is walking up to you in church and telling you to shut up because he's talking, right? They shut up, particularly the women, right? I want you to understand that. What it is that they do and how they engage in, again, the lies. And only the believers believe the lies, truly. The pastors don't really believe the lies. They teach the lies because it's tradition. It's a way for them to make a living, right? And a very good living, right? But do they really believe in what they preach? The answer is no. Like I said, you gotta look at the actions, right? Look at what they do, how they destroy the black community. Like I said, kids, you know, these parents will buy their kids expensive sneakers, expensive shoes and coats, won't even buy them a computer. Won't even buy them a computer, right? They'll buy them a laptop, okay? Which is fine. Some of them, not all, some of them, right? Most of them will buy their kids an iPad that costs $700 as opposed to buying a computer. You could get your kids one of those Amazon tablets. They're always on sale, right? Your kids don't need an iPad, right? Your kids need a computer. Buy them a computer. They can do so much more with a computer, right? You buy kids a computer, particularly when they turn 7, by the time they graduate out of elementary, they already know how to somewhat do some research, right? Because they give you projects to do. Right? So when my daughter does projects, I help her go online, find the information, right? By the time they graduate from junior high school, right? They have a good idea of how to do research. Also how to, you know, what is footnotes, how to add footnotes, stuff like that, right? How to look for information, okay? And all throughout the high school year, they have a computer. They're going to be doing advanced subject so they can do advanced research. A tablet's not going to do it. You're buying them, $200 pairs of sneakers ain't going to do it. I remember when my son, he wanted sneakers that was like 190 something. I said, no, I'm not buying you that. He's like, well, my mother. I said, then let your mother buy it. I'm not buying you that. Okay, Now I bought him. What was it? The most expensive thing I ever bought him in terms of clothing was a Ralph Lauren fake Sherlin jacket. Right, that was like, I didn't pay that much for it, but the jacket was like $500, and I ended up paying $150 for the jacket because it was such a good sale. And this was like years ago. Okay, right? But the best jacket I ever bought him that he had throughout his high school years, he didn't need any other jacket, was a Benz jacket that I only paid, what was I paid, $65 for? That I bought from, where did I buy it? Bought it from maybe Nordstrom Rack. This was like years ago, man. Like I said, my son, he's 21 now, so he must have been like, I think he was like going to the 10th grade. No, sorry, the 9th grade. And I had to buy it a little bigger for him because I'm not doing go into it. And he always tell me, he's like, that's the best jacket I ever had. He said, I had that jacket all through high school. I had bought the same jacket too. When I tell you that jacket was warm, and it wasn't bulky, but it was warm, right? That was the warmest. I only paid $65 for it. So again, why do you need to spend? Like I said, when I was younger, working, what have you, I never spend a lot of money on some of the things that I see these kids spending money on today. These young people today spending money on. They'll literally spend $600, $100 on a pair of damn slippers because it's Balenciaga, because it's Gucci. Like I said, they have become more and more materialistic now more than ever. And back in the days, I used to be like, you spent $100 on a pair of jeans, on some jeans, that's materialistic. No way. You know what I'm saying? But just to show you, now they'll put themselves in debt for a bag, right? Especially these women, they'll literally take out loans just to buy a bag that may cost $4,000 or $5,000. All right, and then we'll buy if they have kids, and then we'll buy their kids, clothes from Walmart. And again, there's nothing wrong with having clothes from Walmart, but I just want to show you the mindset, right? If they can spend $5,000 on a bag, you can buy, go to the most of when my kids were younger, all their clothes came from the children's place. My daughter, my son, Ethan, he's outgrown that, but my daughter, children's place. When they were younger, children's place. Okay. I never teach my kids to look at labels as something that's a reflection of them. No, teach them who they are, so they can look in the mirror and be a reflection of who they are, of what you taught them. Okay? Being good, being helpful to others, being courteous, being respectful, right? Also, try and take education seriously. I told my son, I said to my Ethan, who's my 14-year-old, I said, look, you got to graduate high school, all right? I said, you got to get onto that point where you got to come to that self-realization, because I'm not around all the time. That when I'm not here, if you have homework, you need to say, hey, I got to do homework. You got to do it, So I said, when you graduate out of high school, you don't got to go to college if you don't want to, Right? I told him, I said, you can go to a trade school. You go to a trade school. College is not for everybody. You can go to a trade school, right? Learn a trade, right? I said, but you must graduate out of high school, And again, we like to push college on our kids, right? But when you look and you see the people who started these companies, a lot of them, they didn't even finish college. They dropped out of college. And they talk about white people. They talk about Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, who else? Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs is, he passed away, right? But the reason why they become so successful is just because guess what? Because they had other white people who believed in them. They had family that believed in them, and family that supported them. In the black community, we don't have that. We don't have that. And again, there are some family that will try to support you, but if they don't have the financial means, that means that you'll end up working for a company and giving away your creation to a company that's going to make money, millions and billions, possibly billions of dollars off of you, right? While, you know, you don't even see, $1 million, right? So you gotta understand the socioeconomic factor and status which most black people are in. As I said, economic warfare is what the white racists, white supremacists do against us, right? That's just one aspect, okay? There are many different things that we ignore because of our religious belief system, and we just want to believe that these people are good, even though we know what it is that they do. We know how when black people go to buy a home, how they overcharge them for that home, right? How they give them a higher mortgage rate, right? Even when they have good credit, even better credit than white people, right? They still end up getting the short end of the stick, right? But because owning a home is something that they psych themselves out to be, they end up losing money. Some part of their wealth is being stolen from them, and they don't even know it. Just they can run around saying, "Oh, I got a house." Okay, right? But the majority of your income goes into that house, goes into the mortgage, goes into the maintenance, right? This is what they do. All right, but like I said, we don't, our religious belief system, they know this is why they keep us highly religious. And the churches are a big part of why we are failing as people and as a community. And like I said, and we have to start holding these churches responsible. We have to start holding these churches responsible and these pastors responsible, right? You are pouring into these churches, but they're not pouring into you, right? You are pouring into the churches through your hard-earned money, and they tell you that pour into Jesus, and Jesus will pour back into you. Has Jesus poured back into you? You got to understand the game that they're playing with you. Understand that what is that they're doing, right? They're manipulative, and they don't really teach you anything to help you through life, except to be more delusional and to wait on Jesus. All right? Talk to you guys in the next video.